part of the chapter is like really simple. So what is light? It's a form of energy. And in this form of energy, whenever there is light around us, it produces a sensation of sight. We are able to see things when light falls on them. Light travels in a straight line, formation of shadow, all these things you have already studied in junior classes. So now one thing to make a note of, when you are able to see things because of what? Because of light being reflected from the object. Okay, so only if an object is reflecting light, you will be able to see that object. And that's, have you heard about black holes in universe?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you heard about black holes or not?
Yes, ma'am. We have
Yes,
heard.
ma'am.
So why are they called
Ma'am.
black holes? They are called as black holes because we can see that we cannot really see them. They're called as black holes because we cannot really see them. We can only sense their presence because they have a very strong gravitational pull. So even light is not able to be reflected from them, and that's the reason, because light is not reflected from these black holes, we cannot see them. Whatever goes near them, the black holes they have such a strong gravitational pull that they don't let anything escape. And that's why even light cannot be reflected, so we can't really see them, and hence the name black holes. Now, if you are able to see a book as red color, what does it tells you about how does a book appears to be of a certain color? Can you tell me that? We already know that white light is composed of 7 colors, right? Namely violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So out of these 7 colors, which color is being bounced back by the book? I hope you already. Yes.
The red color is reflected and other colors are absorbed by the object.
Yes. So you are able to view a book as red in color because of the fact that it is absorbing light of all other colors and only reflecting back red colors towards you. Fine. So if suppose you are viewing if you are viewing that book from a red colored filter, you know what's a red filter? Filter से क्या पता चलता है basically? When we say the word filter, what idea does it give you? What is a filter?
It separates that part, the part of the
It's gonna separate as if I say the name red light filter, what does it tells you? It is going to filter which light?
It is not going to pass through it.
It is, so if you are viewing a red colored book through a red color filter, what color the book will appear to you? So book is reflecting only red color towards you, and you are viewing that book through a red color filter. So that red color filter will filter out the light of red color. So the book will appear to be of which color to you? It's easy.
The book will appear to be of red color to you because it was bouncing back only red color towards you, and then you use a red filter. A red filter allows only light of red color to pass through, so the book would still be visible as red in color.
So coming back to our original discussion, let's look at various phenomena related to light. You can see here in first case what is happening. In figure number 2, The one which is labeled figure number 2. What is that? Which phenomena is shown?
Reflection.
Reflection. In just where there is a glass with 2 straws in it. What is the main thing about this figure?
Refraction.
Okay, yes. We have not discussed that term. So yes, refraction. Basically, you can see at the boundary where the glass, where there is water in the glass, from at the point where water is starting, you can see that the straws appear to be broken. Straws appear to be broken. This is the phenomena of refraction. So we come on to the first concept of the chapter, which is reflection of light. Reflection of light is the phenomena which is observed whenever light will fall onto a very highly polished surface, like that of a mirror. Most of the light will be sent back, or most of the light bounces back into the same medium. This phenomena is called reflection of light. And this phenomena will always take place in accordance with certain laws, which you have already studied. So I'm not going to devote much time to it. The first law of reflection says that angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. And the second law says that the incident ray, reflected ray, and normal to the mirror, okay, they will all lie in the same plane basically. Now, this is something you have to learn this year. Image formation by a plane mirror. Now, for this, we need to know what are plane mirrors and what are spherical mirrors. Now, plane mirrors, as the name is suggesting, they are any 2 or any 3 points. When they are connected, they form a plane. Now, to make a mirror, what they do is they take a plain glass, transparent, and they put a coating of silver on it. A silver coating is put on it. Silver is a very good reflector of light. Okay, it can be also some other coating. Any highly polished surface would be a good reflector of light. So after the silver coating, now silver can get scratched very easily. Generally, a layer of red paint is put so that you cannot scratch the coating easily. Okay, now your transparent surface has now become opaque. So the glass was transparent. Now after putting the silver coating and after putting this red color paint to avoid the scratching, your transparent surface has turned opaque. And now it has become a very good reflector of light. So whenever we take any curved surface, if I take a curved ball, I cut it into 2 halves. If I give a coating on the outer side, this inner surface will become reflecting. If I take a transparent spherical surface and this time I coat the inner surface, now this outer surface will become a reflector surface. Okay, because these two mirrors have been formed from a spherical or from a curved surface, they will be spherical mirrors. They will be spherical mirrors. They were part of a sphere, and from those parts of a sphere we have made mirrors. So because they are curved in nature, we call them as spherical mirrors. This type of a spherical mirror, first one, could be a concave mirror, and this one would be a convex mirror. So the bulging out surface is the reflecting surface. then the mirror is a convex mirror. If the curved surface or the bulging in surface is the reflecting surface, then it's a concave mirror I'm talking about. Now consider this. If they were part of a sphere. So if I take a huge ball, consider a huge ball. Yes.
Ma'am, can you please explain that again?
Yeah, sure. So consider a huge ball. अब इस huge ball में से आप एक छोटा सा portion कट करो, सिर्फ इतना, ठीक है? Then it would almost be a straight line. Yes or no? If you
Yes,
take
ma'am.
take a very, like, consider our Earth. Consider our Earth. Earth is it's such a huge sphere. पर कभी भी जब आप अपने रोड पे चलते हो, क्या आपको ऐसा लगता है कि आप एक कर्व्ड पाथ में चल रहे हो? Because you are using only a small portion of the earth. So a small portion of the earth will not give you a curved surface. It will just be a straight line. So if you take a portion of a very, very large sphere and you cut out a portion of that sphere and make a mirror, that mirror would be straight. It will not have any curvature. So that would be a plane mirror. So again, coming back to my discussion, if I consider that I take a hollow sphere, I cut that hollow sphere into two parts. For one portion, I give a silver coating on the back surface, and in the second case, I give a silver coating to the inner surface. So in 1 and in 2, in 1 this would be the reflecting surface, and in 2 this would be the reflecting surface. Here in 1 the mirror would be called as a concave mirror because the caved surface is the mirror. This type of a mirror, the second case, will be called as a convex mirror. Here the bulging out portion would be the reflecting surface. Fine. And both the mirrors were part of a sphere, right? Both of the mirrors were part of a sphere. So obviously, if there is a sphere, it will have some radius also. Sphere है तो उसका radius भी होगा. So the radius of the sphere of which the mirror was a part is called as radius of curvature. It is denoted by capital R. It is the radius of the sphere of which the mirror was a part. Now, can somebody tell me, based upon how I told you the fact how plane mirrors are made, can you tell me what would be the radius of curvature for a plane mirror? Think about it. Try and analyze. A plane mirror is a part of a sphere which is having very, very, very large radius, right? So the radius of curvature or radius of sphere for which plane mirror was a part would be infinite. We can consider it to be a sphere which is having very, very, very large radius. And we are only taking a portion of that sphere. So the radius of curvature for a plane mirror would be infinity. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we come on to the technique of ray diagram. In ray diagram, what do? We use this type of an arrowhead to show the object. Okay. we show the object as a source of light. See, even if there is a table becomes visible to you when light from a light source will fall on it and then get reflected from it. So we will consider table as a source of light because we know that it becomes visible to me only if it is reflecting some light. So in the technique of ray diagram, I use an arrowhead to denote a source of light. Then second thing we do is we take any two rays coming from the source of light. We denote a light ray like this, a straight line with an arrow. The arrow indicates the direction of light ray. Where is it going? We will take any two rays coming from the source of light. We will see how they get reflected. And the most important part, the point at which these rays meet after reflection. That would be the point at which the image of the object will be formed. Now, what do we mean by image of the object? Whenever there is an object, how it appears to us after reflection in a mirror or from a lens. An image is the production of, we can say, how an object will appear to us after when seen through a mirror or when it is seen through a lens. That is called as an image of the object. So suppose these light rays go like this, they get reflected. So wherever they meet after reflection, wherever they intersect, that would be the point at which the image will be formed. This is the technique of ray diagram. And in this technique, what do we see? In this technique, we can know at what point the image will be formed. We can know at what distance from the mirror the image can be formed. So we can have a lot of information about the image formation by using this technique. And we can also tell the nature of image. So what is image and what is nature of image? Nature of image basically refers to there are certain images which you can obtain on a screen. Such images are called as real images. And there are certain images which you cannot obtain on the screen, meaning you can only see them, but if you want to try to obtain them on screen, you won't be able to. आपको देखने के लिए तो दिखेंगी वो objects, but if you want to obtain an image on the screen, you won't be able to obtain an image onto the screen.